Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. Quick shout out to my newest patrons, Amy F, Daniel G, Luke L, and Jonathan Z. Thank you all for choosing to support the channel. Real quick, apparently I did a 7-second live stream unknowingly yesterday, and I read through the comments late last night, and I just wanted to tell the few of you that left a comment, they were so funny. I saved a lot of them, so thank you all for the laugh. First up today, there's a lot of buzz around Tesla's Lathrop Megapack facility. It is indeed ramping now. I am trying to confirm the daily production rate. That 25 number we talked about a few videos ago may be high. However, even if it's not happening yet, as I said on Twitter, it will be happening in the not too distant future. And it's been a while, so just a reminder, Elon said back in 2019, he expects Tesla's energy division to be roughly the same size as Tesla's auto division. And he also said that Tesla Energy should be growing at a clip of around 150% per year. Then this year, Martin Viecha said for the first time he can remember, they have access to all the supply we need for both the auto business and the energy business as well. So if the Megapack margins are as good as some of the early analysis looks, paired with the Inflation Reduction Act credits that should kick in next year, with basically an unlimited addressable market that may be again recession proof because most of the customers will actually be utilities, and if the financials make sense in the long run, then they'll make that investment. And honestly, shout out to Market Maven and Zero Sum Game on Twitter. They've really done a great job stirring up some of this excitement around Tesla's Lathrop facility. And I always get excited for Tesla's financial releases, but this one I'm very excited for because we should be able to start understanding what type of margins Megapack are actually adding to Tesla's bottom line. So it is indeed a very exciting time for Tesla Energy, and I do hope that more people actually get excited for it. Understandably, people have been sleeping on it the last few years. It hasn't really added too much to Tesla's financials, and at times has actually been a drag on Tesla's margins, but Tesla Energy has been slowly flipping positive over the last few quarters, so exciting times ahead. Recently, Tesla uploaded a new blog post thanking Governor Newsom. You may recall that the CPUC, California Public Utility Commission, proposed that tax on solar customers of $60 a month or more. Long story short, thanks to a lot of pushback from the community and Newsom, the revised proposal does not penalize solar customers with a monthly fee. And on summer evenings when grid energy is generated by dirty fossil plants, Net Energy Metering 3, this plan, those customers will be compensated at nearly $3 per kilowatt hour, 10 times the retail rate, to encourage reducing emissions by sending clean energy to the grid. That Brazilian on Reddit shared, anybody notice you can fart on command with the last update when viewing the live camera interior cabin from Sentry mode? Here is the option down here, and I'm also being told you can set this as a quick control. Overly Optimistic Nerd did a really good thread on Apple Music in a Tesla. It's pretty technical. It'll be linked below if you're interested. I just wanted to share, he said the sound quality may be better if you actually stream via Bluetooth instead of using the premium connectivity. So if you have premium just to listen to Apple Music, then you may be able to do without it and the streaming quality may be better. Again, over Bluetooth. Electrek reporting today that Tesla is planning to freeze some hiring and lay off a new round of employees in Q1 2023. Sadly, we don't really have any detail. What parts of the business will they be freezing? Who will be laid off? How big will the layoffs be? This is pretty much all we get. Honestly though, for anybody who's been paying attention, this really should come as no surprise. We've been saying we can't really be in a recession technically because unemployment is still near historic lows. So I've been waiting for that number to go up. It hasn't really happened yet, but the point is we should be expecting more layoffs across multiple sectors over the next 2 quarters. So of course, this will cause a flurry of negative Tesla headlines, news, talking points, but just look around the industry what's been going on this year. You can see Goldman Sachs, 8% of workforce laid off, DoorDash, 6%, Amazon, 1%, Meta, 13%. Of course, we know about Twitter, Zillow, 5%, Peloton, 12%. Snapchat 20%, Lyft 2%, Substack 14%, Peloton 20%, and of course there are plenty of others as well. And don't forget about Ford too. But Tesla will most likely continue to hire at least in specific areas. The first one that comes to mind would of course be Giga Berlin. If they do reach for that third shift, which is seemingly going to happen in the next few weeks, They're going to need more employees to do that, and so far on LinkedIn, as Alex pointed out, they are still looking for new workers. No disrespect to this lady, but she needs to be corrected.
Tesla is, it's kind of a cult stock, right? You can't really, the valuation is really expensive, even though the stock has pulled back so substantially. But it is kind of a cult stock. You either believe or you don't. I have always just worried about the competition from the legacy OEMs, right? And all the products that are coming out. So I just think this is a tough one. Then you have the Twitter noise on top of that. So to me, this is not the kind of environment where you want to own a high PE stock in addition to some of the distractions that the CEO is seeing.
That's the best analysis CNBC can come up with. The most tired arguments ever. The competition is coming. We've been hearing it for years. Somebody please point it out to me in the United States. And then she goes on to say how Tesla is so highly valued and it's still a high PE stock. You probably saw Rob Maurer pointed out Tesla's PE was lower than Chipotle, and I've been shouting a lot about Tesla's forward PE now approaching Toyota's level. So if you wanted to make the argument Tesla was overvalued 2 years ago, be my guest, but to make it right now seems very disjointed. Matthias and the accountant over the last few weeks have done some excellent work digging into Twitter's financials so that we can understand what their financials may look like into 2023 so we can know should we expect Elon to sell more Tesla stock. I won't go into detail, but they looked at the numbers before the acquisition and then did some pro forma adjustments. Pro forma basically just means they used some assumptions or projections and maybe removed some one-time items to try to normalize what the financials would look like without those one-time items. The main takeaway, there's a chance that Twitter has a realistic path based on all of the reasonable assumptions that they made, that Twitter could be neutral or maybe even a slightly positive free cash flow for 2023, meaning that would reduce the chances Elon needs to sell more stock. Without some of Elon's drastic changes, they may have burned through $3 billion next year alone. So this full thread will be linked below. And if you want to hear it from the horse's mouth on a Twitter Spaces, Elon did say, I think that Twitter will in fact be okay next year. This will be difficult. Anybody that's been itching for Elon to take some blame about his impact in Tesla's stock, he said maybe so, in which case buying opportunity, which he said that in the past too. He keeps saying the Fed rate is insane. The data he's seeing says we're already in deflation. Now, this is different than disinflation. Disinflation is just when the rate of inflation slows down. Deflation is when prices actually start going down. He says, if true, the real rate of return of Treasury bills is roughly that of the S&P 500, which is why he's been arguing it makes more sense now for more people to take some of the money out of the stock market and put it into a safer return. Because that alpha or the expected rate of return for those riskier investments has now compressed and is closer to those more conservative investments. And he added a very smart investor that he spoke to said he's shorting the S&P. Think about it. Historically, the stock market returns around 8% per year over the long term. But right now, you can go lock in for 5, 6, maybe 7% nearly risk-free with these treasury bills and other fixed asset investments. However, when it comes to Tesla, this is actually awesome news because Elon has said he's seeing a lot of data points showing deflation, which means a lot of the input costs or the material costs for Tesla are actually coming down. So we may not see that play out too much in Q4, but this could be a really nice boost for Tesla's margins through the economic headwinds into Q1 and Q2. Let's just race through some different commodities. Gas prices peaked earlier this summer. They've been steadily coming down or deflating. This right here is a big one for Tesla when it comes to exports and logistics. Of course, Tesla has to ship its cars around the world. Global Container Freight Rate Index going back to January 2019. Again, it peaked in September 2021 and since then has fallen dramatically, almost back to normal pre-COVID levels. How about some really important metals that go into EVs and solar panels? Copper, down 13% year over year, deflating. Steel, down 16%. Iron ore, down 9.4%. Lithium still up a big year over year, so not everything is deflating, but enough are to make it a good talking point. If you watched my interview with Gene Munster earlier this year, you may recall he said to watch the prices of lumber as it will serve as a leading indicator of where we're headed. Those prices are down 63%. Cobalt down 26% year over year. Nickel still up 43%. Manganese, which has been getting a lot of love in the battery space lately, down 6.7%. So don't forget, in the micro, we have a lot of these supply-demand imbalances slowly working themselves out. And then from the macro, we have these 5 factors that Cathie Wood has been talking about for a long time.
We are in a period today like we have never been. Never. I mean, you have to go back to telephone, electricity, and automobile to see 3 major technologically enabled sources of innovation evolving at the same time. Today, we have five platforms: DNA sequencing, robotics, energy storage, artificial intelligence, and blockchain technology, all of which are deflationary, and not just by a little bit either. Jeff Gundlach and Howard Marks, and I think Stan Druckenmiller and Ray Dalio, all of them, I think, have been very, very concerned about a deflationary bust.
These macro deflationary forces will play out over the next 3, 5, 10, 15 years, but something to keep in the back of your mind. Speaking of Tesla and batteries, according to some new public filings, they will be spending $1.5 million to build out some new in-house cell manufacturing in Fremont. Project info, Cell Development Lab, new cell lab, first floor. At this point, unsure exactly what this would be, if it's more R&D or actual manufacturing. $1.5 million is a relatively small amount, but something to watch. In case you've been off the grid the last 48 hours, Elon he will resign as CEO of Twitter as soon as he finds somebody foolish enough to take the job. After that, he'll just run the software and servers teams. In a new Tesla stock note from Morgan Stanley, I just want to highlight 2 things. A great reminder that in Q1 next year, Ford will be splitting out its Model E division, so we'll finally know the actual profitability or lack thereof of its EV division. This could be a big deal for the industry, as all eyes will be looking to see what type of levels Ford is really operating at. Jonas and Morgan Stanley are now also on Toyota's side when it comes to delaying the EV transition, and basically saying they think the later or follower approach may prove optimal over time. They don't really give any reasons why, but I still disagree. But I'm sharing this because it's in line with a point I made yesterday that some of these legacy OEMs may slow down their EV investments, and Morgan Stanley said, next year, we think legacy automakers like GM and Ford have an opportunity to reconsider the quantum and timing of their EV investment plans that were established during very different economic and interest rate environments. If that analysis is true, that just means more first mover advantage and more market share for Tesla. Tesla is now expanding into Turkey, taking the strategy they usually use, setting up service and superchargers first, and then we should expect sales to follow. The first job opening in Turkey is there for service employees in Istanbul. And here are the rest of the job postings. There is one for sales, one for customer support, and the rest for vehicle service. There are already some private Tesla vehicles that have been delivered to the area, and yes, they are indeed also building out the supercharging network in the region. More good work here from Joe Tetmeyer. Here we see some more parts of the GigaPress strewn about on the floor, so let the real life-size Lego project begin. One more image from Joe Tetmeyer. As you can see at Giga Austin, Tesla has stacks on stacks of battery packs. Shout out Dr. Seuss. These do have the YSB on them, which we believe is the Model Y structural battery. So potentially preparing for a pretty significant ramp in Q1. Not a great look for the Chevy Bolt, recalling 140,000 vehicles because of, yes, fire risks. Although the reason this time around is different, it's not the battery pack, it's that the carpet could catch fire after a crash where a front seatbelt pretensioner deploys. When that happens, it releases exhaust gases coming in contact with floor carpeting fibers, and after a crash could cause a fire. $120K in the US and $20K in Canada. And good news for Herbert Diess, he finally found a landing place as he will step in to become the chairman of Infineon, which I believe is in, if not near, the top 10 largest chip makers in the world. It's cool because Infineon has had a working relationship with VW for years. They put out this press release back in 2019 saying VW relies on Infineon for its EV future. Pair that with the Megapack ramp in Lathrop and the Inflation Reduction Act, and you have all good things for Tesla. That'll do it for today. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Please like the video if you did. Quick reminder, I will not be uploading a video Friday or Monday, taking off to spend some time with family and friends and celebrate what God has done for us this year. And a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.